Hey folks, check this out. Look what literally just arrived. I was sat here at my desk recording some other footage for a different review, and our local Yodel delivery driver must have known because there was a rat-a-tat-tat at the door, and here was the Marvel Legends Black Widow, the new, super exciting Marvel Legends Black Widow with the brand new female book with the very, very intriguing new articulation scheme. So, yeah, here it is. It's relentless at the minute. Hasbro must have had a massive shipping container arrive in Hull here in the UK because it's just been one figure after another, which, you know, I'm not complaining. My bank balance is, but I'm not complaining. So yeah, here we go. Here's Black Widow. And regular viewers will notice that I'm not in my overhead cam setup. I've not got the bracket up because I'm doing some other recording right now. So hopefully you'll excuse me for just doing a quick box rundown in the light box rather than with the overhead camera. But here is the figure, the Marvel Legends series Black Widow, Avengers Beyond Earth's Mightiest. First time I've ever clocked that subtitle there. It's obviously the windowless packaging. That's on the way out. We've seen from the San Diego Comic-Con reveals that the windowed packaging are on their way back in, but it's the digital render of the figure there on the front. And then we've got some artwork here that looks pretty nice up the side. More digital render action on the other side. And then on the back there, more digital render action and a little breakaway box showing off all the goodies and accessories and added value that are included with the figure, and naturally, because it's Hasbro, all the legal malarkey and bollocks there at the bottom, as well as at the very bottom as well. They really do love to cover their arses. Black Widow then comes in the cardboard frame, the standard cardboard frame. There's bags of all sorts of stuff, and the paperwork. So there she is, which includes the figure. And just bag after bag of extra accessory goodies. Let's tip them out there. Come on. Hands dropping out there. I think a couple of heads. What's that? Another head in there, I think. Out you come. Out you come. Anyway, you don't need to sit there watching me empty things out of the bag. So I'm going to go away, have some good old-fashioned man-child playtime with the figure. Get good and hands-on. Do some posing, take some photos, see how she looks in displays. And I'll be back in a short while for you, but in a couple of days for me, to review her more proper. So, yeah, stick around, folks. And I'll be back in 3, 2, 1. Okay then, folks, here we go. Here is the figure out the box. It's been, well, more than a few days now, actually, since I recorded the semi-unboxing section of the video. Not my usual thorough unboxing, but unboxing nonetheless. And I've had a bit of time now to fit in some man-child playtime, so I've got good and hands-on with the figure. Been doing some posing and displaying, taking some photographs, getting on the carpet and doing some good old-fashioned man-child playtime. And I'm now ready to come back and share some review thoughts. So if you're new around these parts, just to let you know, just to read you in on the structure, my reviews take place in 3 sections. I call them the 3 A's. The first A is aesthetic. We're going to talk about how the figure looks, discuss the visual impacts, sculpts, paint applications, all those good things, textures, details, etc., etc. Then the second A, which is articulation, a few things to take a look at on this figure in that respect. And then finally, the third A is going to be accessories, stroke added value, what kind of additional goodies have been thrown in the package by Hasbro to make this worth our while, worth our hard-earned money. And with all that said and done, if you're considering picking up a Black Widow of your own, it's my hope that my comments today are going to help you make your decision. So let's not dilly-dally around. Let's get cracking on with it, and let's get started with the aesthetic section. So I normally start with the head sculpt when I talk about the aesthetic visual element. I believe the heads are a very important part of the visual experience with these action figures. But today I'm starting with something else because there's a visual element that has bugged me about this figure right from the get-go, right from opening the box. I'm going to pause for a second. Just take it in what you're looking at. Do you know what it might be? Well, if you said the belt's upside down, you'd be correct. I didn't fully know that this was the case, but I've been and had a look at some of the promo photos and some other folks' pickies on Instagram, and my belt's on upside down. Now, it's an easy fix. I'm not going through the rigmarole of sending it back or anything. I'll just pop open the figure and turn it around, or snip it at the back and reglue it or something. I'll figure something out. But from the moment of opening it, I was like, something's not right. Something doesn't look right. Something... It's not working for me. And it's because the belt's upside down. It's been bothering me a great deal. So there we go. Getting on to the head sculpt, though, here's the one that is on the figure out of box. And yeah, the head sculpt is really strong, really solid. Great paint applications, good defined features. I like the hair stuff that's going on. I know some folks aren't so keen on this little bit going over the eye, but I sort of like it. There's a dynamic energy to the way the hair is swooshing and flopping about. The hair sculpt is really good as well. Great detail, and I think there's a bit of a wash. I can't quite tell. I think so. Like there's a little darker undercurrent and some lighter red hair across the top, but that may just be the way the plastic's molded. But nonetheless, it works. It's still perhaps maybe a little bit sort of Marvel Legends, nondescript, blank face. There's not a great deal going on there of a grimace or a smirk or just something to bring the character a little bit more to life in terms of the kind of narrative storytelling that's taking place with it. But in terms of the actual sculpt quality overall, it's great. I mean, look at the detail on the eyebrows and the eyes and stuff. It's really top-notch stuff, and I'm very, very pleased to see a great comic book Natasha head sculpt on a Marvel Legends figure for sure. Now, that is just one of 3 head sculpts that are included in the packaging. And in another break from my normal review structure, I'm going to jump ahead to share the other 2 head sculpts. Even though I normally leave swappable heads for the accessories and added value section of the video, I think that there's such an important visual element of the figure that I'm going to bring them in now. This is the second one. I'd probably say of the selection of 3, this has been my favourite, but it's not without its limitations when it comes to articulation because of the length of the hair. But really loving the head sculpt, the hair sculpt on this one, very reminiscent of the Black Widow limited series that I used to read through the sort of 2000s, well, basically over the last 20 years. So I'm much more into the kind of longer hairstyle, although I do like the shorter do. But yeah, again, the head sculpt is great. I sense a kind of a little bit more maturity, like the shorter hair has got a kind of more youthful vibe to it, whereas this one looks a little bit more mature, a bit more grown up, put a few more years of spy-crafted assassination on the old skin there. But I'm particularly loving the sort of slight red blush in the cheeks, and look at the paint applications on the lipstick, just really, really awesome. Just a quick peek of the sculpt of the hair draped down the back there as well. You can see that's a really lovely sculpt, nice fine detail, and you can see that wash in there too with the sort of darker lines closer to the base of the hair, and then the lighter red at the top. And then we have this third head sculpt here, clearly sculpted and designed to evoke the sort of classic 60s and 70s Black Widow hairstyle before she went in, cut it short and went into a grey uniform. This is probably my least favourite of the 3. I'm just not a big fan of this kind of big bouffant thing in the hair. It looks kind of a bit odd and like she's wearing a big Dolly Parton style wig on top of her head. However, I like that there's a bit of a slight cheeky smirk in the face there. I feel like there's a little bit more personality and character being communicated in the face sculpt. Although that said, to check myself for a moment, she is a ruthless spy assassin lady. I think a serious stoic look on her face in the other 2 head sculpts is not completely out of place, is it? But there's something about, can you see it? Just there's ever so slight bit of a smirky smile thing going on in there, which I like. I'd have preferred to have had that hair, but with that head sculpt. But beggars can't be choosers, and hey, we're getting 3 head sculpts. I'll circle back round to that point when I do accessories and added value at the end of the 3As. There is a handful of sculpted details, paint applications, sculpted textures in there to give the figure a little bit more shelf presence and a bit more depth. So you can see things like the silver paint application on the zipper there at the front of the jumpsuit. You can see some texture, fabric texture, creases and folds in her jumpsuit as well, particularly in the torso area, less so as you go down the legs. although there are some down in the foot area, but much more in the torso. I suspect that's because the legs are reused from a previous figure. The belt, despite being on the wrong way round, is comic book accurate. It's, it fits the figure design. Little paint application on the front there with the Black Widow symbol, and then her little stinger shooters around her wrist. So there's definitely some elements in here that you don't always get with a Marvel Legends figure. The kind of spandex super suit is very sheer and straight quite often, whereas this has got some of the nice textured details in there, which I appreciate. Colour scheme's good. It's obviously comic book accurate. She's in a black jumpsuit with her gold trimmings of the belt and her stinger blaster things. Obviously the red hair, the prominent flash of red hair, which is a key visual characteristic that we associate with the Black Widow from the comic books, is there. It's prominent. It's pitched just right in terms of the colour choices there. I am sometimes a little bit critical of Marvel Legends figures when the superhero costume is too shiny. In this instance, though, I'm going to let it slide. In fact, I'm hoping it was intentional, because I don't think... Well, you'd be hard-pressed to find a comic book cover of Black Widow from any of her limited series over the last 20 years, or any of her appearances in anybody else's comic book either, where she's not being depicted in shiny PVC or shiny leather. I mean, there's some tremendous painted covers out there that I'd highly encourage you to go and check out, but... there is sometimes a little bit of the male gaze applied to it there, and shiny PVC costumes is a part of that narrative, I suppose. But what that does also mean is that the shininess is more comic book accurate and therefore a little bit forgivable. I have got a little bit of a QC thing that I noticed here. I don't know if you can see, there's these little kind of mold sculpt lines in the legs there across the thighs on both sides. They're quite well disguised. They sort of disappear into the contours of her leg musculature and the shiny colour, or the shiny black colour of the uniform too. So they do disappear. It's only really, I mean, I've got them under like super bright lights here, and they're standing out quite significantly, but they're not as noticeable on the shelf. It's just for like really super thorough nerdy YouTubers like me who inspect their figures super close to make videos like this, I suppose, really is the main thing there. One visual element that I've criticised about Marvel Legends before, and sadly this Black Widow figure has fallen victim to this issue too. She's got a little bit of the tiny hand syndrome there. I don't know what it is with the female hands, but I always feel like they sculpt them just a bit too small. We'll take a look at the hand swaps when I do the accessories and added value section of the video, and the hand swaps aren't quite as bad. The trigger fingers in particular look a little bit more scaled right, but once you see it, once you realise that they look a bit kind of small, you can't not see it. Do you know what I mean? That fist just looks just ever so slightly small. Is it me? Let me know in the comments down below. Maybe it's just me, but I always feel like the hand sculpts on the female figures are a little bit too small, and Black Widow appears to be the same. So overall, a solid visual experience. Aesthetic is definitely getting a thumbs up from me. It's comic book accurate. It's got the key visual features that you associate, with the key characteristics that you associate with the Black Widow character. So that's definitely there. It's a little bit of a cut above the rest. It's certainly some of the figures I picked up in the last sort of 6 to 12 months with regards to sculpting details, paint applications. I mean, it's the Black Widow. She's in a Black Widow jumpsuit with a few trimmings around the side to give it a bit of shelf presence, a bit of shelf lift. What more could they have done? But the areas that they could have done something, like in the head sculpt, with the hair, in the texture details of the uniform, they've done it. So I can't complain. I'm actually really quite happy with the sort of visual experience of the character, and she definitely looks great next to my Hulk and my Captain America and my Iron Man and such like. So yeah, thumbs up on aesthetic. Let's now take a look at the articulation, shall we? So the articulation scheme on this figure was one of the key selling points that was marketed very heavily by the Dan Yun and the team when they were pitching this figure, because this represents the next level, the next step in female articulation. They made a very big deal out of her being the hyper-articulated Black Widow figure. And she's the most articulated female figure in the Marvel Legends line to date. So there's a lot, really, to kind of consider and take in. But taking it in order, just running through, starting with the head, we've got the usual articulation on the ball there. So we've got a good bit of down, decent bit of up, although not great. All the way around on the 360, you can do some tilting and stuff. So the head articulation is definitely up to the usual kind of Marvel Legends standard. Then moving down further into the figure and getting to the shoulders, this is where some of the core action is taking place, because you'll notice that Black Widow here has a butterfly joint in the shoulders, which is a nice addition, definitely long overdue. Gives you a nice bit of forward and back shuffle there that helps out. I was arming her up with some rifles and some stuff that I had hanging around, and that was definitely helping out. And I was also trying to get her into some more acrobatic style poses, the like of which she does in the comic books, and the butterfly joint helped once again. So a welcome addition, and yeah, it's a good piece of articulation there. Definitely gives you an improved range of motion in that area. Over and above the usual swivel and hinge in the armpits there to give you the T-shape. Then we're back to the usual routine a little bit more. We got the swivel at the top of the bicep and tricep. Nice pinless double elbow there as well, giving you that range of motion, which in this day and age, I shouldn't be highlighting a double elbow on a figure. Exciting difference that sets them apart at all. God, do I wish the Marvel Legends team would just take a walk down the corridor and have a chat with the G.I. Joe Classified design team. But here we are. Here's the double elbow. So lovely touch. And of course, again, with a figure like this that is highly acrobatic and very action-orientated, a double elbow like that is a wonderful addition. Then it's the usual pegged-in hands, which gives you swivel. And both sides on this particular one out of the packet has got a hinge back and forth, like so, in the wrist. Moving into the torso, we've got 2 points of articulation here. So you see you've got the cut just below her breasts, and then the hinge here just above the waist. The chest one, great range of motion on a ball, plenty of swivel, plenty of rotate. Once again, really opening up the range of options for a figure that is traditionally known as being quite an acrobatic and martial artisty combatant. Then the hinge here obviously gives great forward, great back. Once again, just really opening up the range of possibility as to what you can do. This little belt does get in the way, and as you can see, it moves around, and you have to do a little bit of fiddling. So if you're taking photos, positioning of that, don't do what I did, take a load of photos and then realise that the belt was like right up here under her boobs. I had to kind of pull it down. Of course, your belt will be on the right way round, I would hope, and therefore would hang and drape more accurately. But yeah, nice, lovely to have both those areas, those points of articulation, just really, again, opening up what's possible. Moving further down the figure, you can see it's the hinge here in the groin area, which gives you a fairly decent set of splits, a good kick forward. Very little in the back, though, which is not fantastic. We've got a swivel here at the top of the thigh. This one's a bit loose, actually. I don't know if you noticed, it sometimes pulls out. You get a little bit of a gap. So I'll be looking at doing something with that. But yeah, thigh swivel at the top of the thigh. Nice pinless double knee, giving you a range of motion up to there. No boot cut. And then we've got the hinge and rocker on the feet as standard. These are really good. Really help out with the posing that you're trying to do with a Black Widow figure for sure. So yeah, I'm giving it a thumbs up. The articulation is good. I'm very pleased to see the butterfly joint on a female figure in Marvel Legends. The double torso articulation as well really opened up the range of possibility when I was playing around with the figure the other day and trying to do some more kind of martial artsy type stuff. So very pleased with that. The double elbow, the double knee should absolutely double elbow should be just standard now with Marvel Legends. They are really taking the piss. Showing figures at San Diego Comic-Con that has still only got the single elbow, but there we go. So really happy with that. My main 2 points of criticism, the inability to move the head as far back as I would have liked. With this one in particular, with the short hair, with the other two with the longer hair, it's out of the question anyway, but with this one in particular. And then, just something I alluded to, I think, what was I talking about? Maybe it was when I did Spiral or Dark Phoenix. I can't remember specifically, but one thing I've been kind of putting on my wish list is sculpted boots. Sculpted boots on the Marvel Legends figures so that we can get a boot cut in there. And I think a little boot cut, a piece of articulation would have just helped out take it to the absolute next level with some of the more acrobatic and ambitious types of poses that I was trying to do with the figure. However, overall, I've been able to do a lot of fun stuff, all sorts of different really displays with her in different poses, took a few photos with her the other day. Very happy with what I've been able to do. And as I mentioned earlier in the intro, got her into some interesting kind of set pieces with my Hulk and my Captain America and things. So, yeah, I've got no complaints, just those two kind of notes, I suppose, those little kind of side notes, those hopes and dreams for the future. Right, let's take a look at the accessory selection, shall we? Okay, so I've already mentioned the head sculpts. I'll just quickly revisit them, but there's 2 additional head swaps, all offering kind of different aesthetics from different eras. So whatever your Black Widow fandom over the 60 years of Avengers that they're celebrating, you can go with whatever way you please. This is my favourite on this side with the long hair, the more modern look that evokes the kind of Black Widow comics I've been reading in the last 20 years or so, but you can pick and choose as you see fit. So a quick revisit of those. Then we've got 2 sets of hand swaps. We've got the open palm hand swaps, one for the right hand, one for the left hand, and the gun holding trigger fingers there. These are standard sculpts, they've come from a repeat mold, they're reuse, but they're a good selection. The trigger finger gun holding hands have got a nice kind of black glovey look to them, and I must admit these are the hands that I've been using most frequently because I've been posing her up with a range of weaponry more than anything else. But the open palm ones are good, obviously, for sort of some more kind of hand-to-hand combat style poses. These are on the pegs there, and just pop in and out through the usual routine. Yank one hand out, and pop one hand in. Ta-da! Speaking of weaponry, Black Widow comes with 2 handguns, 2 little kind of stub pistols, one with a suppressor on it, one without. We've seen these before. Again, they're reuse from across the Marvel Legends line. They're okay. They're a decent sculpt. They've got a little bit of a kind of comic booky science fiction feel about them. I have no complaints, but nor do I feel like they're blowing the ceiling off or anything as something really exceptional and stand out. They just do the job. They're functional, but they're decent enough. There is also a couple of firing effects there that you can use. There's 2 in the packet, 1 for each pistol. And there's a couple of barrel smoke effects as well. Again, these are standard fare, really. They're reuse. We've seen these before in Marvel Legends, but they're obviously on brand. The gunplay, the use of weaponry is a key part of the Black Widow character. She's known for being an assassin. A sniper rifle may not have gone amiss. I'm happy to have 2 pistols because she looks cool in that John Woo kind of style way, dual wielding a couple of handguns, but I do feel like I associate sort of sniper rifles, killing from a distance as part of her skill set as well, but I'm not short of weaponry that I can just cross-purpose for other figures there anyway, and these are good additions with the firing effects too, so I'm generally happy and pleased with those. I mentioned before about the wrist, the little Widow's Stinger wrist things, and there's a couple of different versions of those as well. So we've obviously got the standard version that's on the wrist out of box, but then there's a set here with little firing effects molded into them, and then there's a set here with barrel smoke as well. So just really, the accessory selection there is opening up and allowing you to tell the narrative, tell the story that you want to tell with your Black Widow figure, whether it be before action, during action, or after action kind of thing. These are pretty straightforward to get on the figure as well. Pop the hand out, pull off one, replace it with another, and then put the hand back over the top. Easy peasy. So, yeah, absolutely, thumbs up on the accessories and added value. I've been enjoying the range, the selection, a great deal that comes with Black Widow. Lots of options there to really open up your narrative storytelling play experience with the figure. The 2 head sculpts alone, I think, are really great. Well, the 3 in total, the 2 additional ones is what I mean to say. There is a lot of reuse in there. Yes, some of it is kind of standard fare for Marvel Legends, but it's okay. They absolutely are right for the character. Firing effects, guns, smoking barrels. I know these are reuse from the earlier Black Widow figure as well. So what? That's cool. I don't mind that in this instance. Would I have liked something new and exciting, like an interesting looking sniper rifle or Man, well, I don't know what else, actually. So that's the point, really, if I can't think of anything else. Just perhaps a little bit something more interesting in the gun space. But that's cool. That's fine. And the other thing is that, at this price point, this is what they would describe as the deluxe figure or a special edition figure or whatever label they use in Marvel Legends. And she was $27.99, which in the modern world of Marvel Legends pricing, to get a figure with the extra articulation and all that thrown in is actually pretty decent, under the sub £30 threshold. You can't complain, I don't think. Well, you can complain because it's still too expensive overall, but you know what I mean. So, yeah, absolute thumbs up. Very happy with the accessory selection. Lots of options, lots of things you can do with it. It's suitable for all sorts of different types of collectors for however they want to use their figure and whatever time period they want to acknowledge and whatever type of action they want their Black Widow to be getting into. It's all there for you. So, yeah, wonderful. All right, then. Right, quick figure comparison time then, guys. And as you can see, I mentioned earlier I had a posed up with Captain America, and here she is. This is the 20th anniversary Marvel Legends celebration Captain American figure here. Good match, I think. I think they work well together. The only thing I noticed is the skin tones, the newer skin tones look a bit nicer. I'd probably argue that the quality of paint applications and sculpting on Captain America next to any Marvel Legends figure has the potential to make them look a bit crap, but Black Widow stands up, and I've done some fun stuff with them. There was Hulk also in the mix there as well, folks, but Hulk is too big for my lightbox, my desk lightbox, I'm afraid. So if you want to go see some of the pictures, then follow me on Instagram, link in the description down below, or I'll pop my username up on the screen here somewhere at this moment in time, if I remember to do so in the edit. And here's Black Widow with the Maria Hill figure from, late last year, maybe? I realised that this equipment set is not Maria Hill's. In fact, I had her flying behind Black Widow with a flight stand pointing. But anyway, so her feet, I've not posed her great down in the legs because she was doing a sort of fly kick thing in the way I had them on the shelf the other day. I think that Guns Mystiques maybe, and the jetpacks from the other Black Widow, actually, the earlier one I own. I was doing a whole Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. kind of thing, and these two were a good fit. They make for a fun little display that I was messing around with the other day, so there you go. And of course, I don't suppose a Black Widow figure comparison would be complete without getting the older one that I own out as well. So this is a couple of years old now, this one. You can see enormous leaps and bounds of improvement. The legs are just a lot better, less spindly. The feet, the articulation at the feet. Obviously, the extra torso articulation and the elbow and shoulder stuff is far better as well. I do have a fondness for this one because this was a period of comic books where I was reading and familiar with the character from comic book lore, but you can see how the face sculpt has moved on over the years already as well. Although again, I've got a fondness for this one. Oh, actually, I wonder how that head sculpt looks on this body. Don't know. The skin tones aren't too far off, are they? But the depth of the ball joint where it plugs into the head isn't as deep, so it sort of sits perhaps a little bit high up. It's not too bad though, not too bad for a little. I'll take a quick picture of that and put it on Instagram. But yeah, there you go. So figure comparisons and a weird little head swap at the end there. Well, here we go then, folks. Here is Black Widow going around on the turntable in a bit of a pose I kind of settled on the other day for some photos I was taking. Really wanted to lean into that kind of action dynamic, but also wanted to make her seem a bit kind of cold and calculating and hyper-skilled. I mean, look at that. She doesn't even have to be looking at where she's shooting. And there's a Hydra agent just taking a bullet somewhere. You know what I mean? Now, I don't generally buy a great deal of characters outside of the X-Men IP. Regular viewers of this channel will know that the vast majority of my Marvel Legends collecting is focused on X-Men characters. So I generally go for A-list characters or characters that I have a particular soft spot for. I don't know why I've got like a weird thing for S.H.I.E.L.D. agents like Maria Hill and whatever Martin Freeman's character was from the Black Widow stuff. I don't know what that's all about. I like the spycrafty stuff, I suppose. And I like having the A-listers. I like having a Thor and a Captain America and a Hulk and a Black Widow, of course, in the collection. So I'd recommend it on that level because it's just a good, solid figure. But with the additional articulation, the quality of the head sculpts, the wider selection of accessories, and the slightly better attention to detail than you don't always necessarily find with Marvel Legends around the texture sculpt and such like, means that I'm really happy with this one. Very pleased with this one. I think it's a great figure and I think they've done a good job. I just wish they stopped taking the piss and they went with this as standard, like G.I. Joe Classified series have done with their female characters, but that's a conversation for another day. So if you are on the fence, if you're thinking about picking one up for yourself, I would definitely say go for it, because I've had a lot of enjoyment, lots of fun, lots of man-child playtime, made loads of interesting displays, found ways to mix it up with loads of other characters in my collection. It's just got something for everyone, whether you're a photographer, a shelf displayer, a get on the carpet in the living room and play whatever. In fact, the weather's good at the minute, take her out in the garden, you know what I mean? Just something for everyone. So yeah, go for it if this tickles your fancy, if the little peek today I've given you has piqued your interest. All right, well, that brings us to the end now then. So thank you so very much for watching my unboxing and review today. I know you could be picking any number of channels. There's a bazillion other channels, and you chose to come and watch mine. And if you're still here at this point, which my analytics tell me a number of people aren't, because I go on a little bit too long, but if you're still here at this point, then I appreciate you even more. Thanks for sticking it out. Please do press all the buttons, do all the doobly what's it doodads, thumbs up, subscribe buttons, notifications, super thanksies, joins, whatever, all that kind of good stuff. And I hope you'll make it Mod Extra Games and Collectibles for another future review in the future. Another future review in the future. That was a bad ending, Chris. Because she's on the turntable, I don't want to edit that because it'll look weird. So I'll just leave it on that. See you later, folks. Come back again soon.